Welcome to the Land Cave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Hello!
We're hanging out, giving you gaming news like we do every single Thursday, rain or shine. It's raining here. I don't know if it's raining where you are.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah? You missing the rain?
I mean, yeah, I have a lawn. It's one of those old man things. Like, I'll take the free water anytime I can.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would say I haven't gotten to that level of like pride, but I will say when I like mow it and I'm like, I did pretty good. We get
I don't
really
have pride in it.
Yeah.
There's no pride. It's not a good lawn.
Oh.
Maybe in a couple of years, that's why I want the free water.
Oh, sure. You got to build that up. Yeah. Mine is I don't know. You didn't come here to listen to us talk about lawns, but I've got a really weird dead tree in my front yard that's been engulfed by these vines. So it's a like 30-foot tall tree. Like there's no limbs on it. It's just the husk of a tree that's wrapped around in vines. And I want that thing. I want that thing to get even bigger. But other than that, I'm just like I'll just make sure I edge and mow the lawn. But oh well. Let us know what your favorite lawn care techniques are.
Yeah, it's like you absolutely did come here for this. This is the winning content that we need.
That's exactly right. You came here to talk. Yeah, exactly. We came here to listen about gaming news, and Owen knows about this, but I started playing Majora's Mask for the first time in like forever. And I talked about this on a previous show that the time limit would get to me because it like resets. You've got 3 days, which amounts to like I want to say it's 46 minutes or something like that. And there's certain if you don't hit certain objectives, it resets. And if you reset it or the day resets, you have to redo the stuff you were doing. So
yeah,
that's what I ran into a couple of times. It's still great playing it on my Wii U, and dude, the Wii U is an underrated console. I know we talked about it before, but man, I'm playing it in the living room, in the bedroom, like pretty much everywhere.
That was good.
But like the Wii is in here. Wii is in here, so my bedroom and my living room are like within 20 feet of it. Within 20 to probably 30 feet to get to the bedroom. And it's not bad. I'm able to actually play it in both rooms. So it's pretty cool. And of course in here. But
I don't just every time that you talk about the time limit thing, I just don't remember having a problem.
Yeah.
That like I tried to think about how many game overs I've had.
Yeah. Oh, you don't get a game over.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like I'm just trying to think of like how often that happened. And I just don't remember it happening that often. Maybe it did, and I just since I knew it was coming and like knew that, like timed my tasks accordingly, I just kind of let it happen.
Yeah,
maybe that's it. I've only played through it like completely once.
Okay,
and so I just remember it's better than Ocarina of Time. So.
See, and I haven't hit that yet. During this playthrough, we'll see if like that happens because. In playing Link to the Past, I got a better understanding of why people were like, no, this is the best Zelda game. And I was like, no, Ocarina is the best Zelda game. And after playing Link to the Past, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a great game. It's still not my favorite, but I don't know. Breath of the Wild may be my favorite right now. It's just
Breath of the Wild, absolutely my favorite.
Good. Just demonstrably, it is the best, like in my opinion, the best designed game in the Zelda franchise. It's extremely fun. The others have their quirks and everything, but yeah, it's absolutely great. And I finished Resident Evil, so I was happy about that too.
1 or 0?
1. I'm going back to play 0 because listeners of the show will know that an item disappeared and I can't finish the game without it. So I'm having to go replay like 8 hours. So I beat Resident Evil 1 in 10.5 hours. So not bad.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
When can we expect some of your first videos about the game?
I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks. So
Sweet.
Like beginning of September is when I'm looking at to start it. I don't think I'm going to hit my goal. My previous goal was to come out with all the videos before Resident Evil 8. I think pacing wise, since I'm actually playing the game and researching, I don't think I've got the time to be able to put those out quick enough to do that, but I'll still have some good content out there.
I mean, we don't even have a date on it yet. I think it's 2021. It's just a matter of when. And so you never know. You know, believe in yourself. You could do it.
I have a feeling it'll be like February or March. If it gets delayed, I've got more time. I actually, not part of this, but I tried to play Resident Evil 7 with Whitney, and it was kind of late in the evening, and she was like, nope, this is too much for me. Like, it was getting to her. It was too... 7's a lot scarier. 1, 2, 3, they're not really that scary in my opinion. 7 gets pretty visceral and pretty messed up.
I feel like they just have a hard time being that scary when just based on the graphics. Like, I'm sure they can be. I'm sure there's like some creepy aspects, but as graphics have improved, the what you're able to achieve in scaring people more.
Sure. I mean, I think there's like one really... I think there's more striking moments and moments that may stick with you in Resident Evil that are definitely horror, but to me they weren't like, oh, that was so I don't know, it didn't horrify me or scare me to the point where I'm concerned when I shut off all the lights in the house. Like that, to me, when something sticks with you and you're still rattled, when it's essentially like all the lights are off in the house, you're trying to sleep. That's when it's still sticking with you. That's when it's impactful. What have you been playing? Obviously not that.
Well, I've already talked about some Crisis Core, and that's still been going on. I don't know where I am, to be honest, since I've never played it before. I don't know how long it is, but I looked it up on, I have an obsession with looking up how long games are.
Yeah.
On how long to beat, which is, if you've never been to that website, it's fantastic.
Yep.
Literally, you can just Google, like, Final Fantasy 7 Crisis Core and how long to beat, and it will pull up that website generally as, like, the top Google hit. And so, apparently, it's around a 20-hour game, just story-wise, but I spend a lot of my time doing the side missions just because, like, and there's no real reason that I'm doing them. You get a little bit of lore. There was Yuffie. There's a Yuffie quest line where Zack meets Yuffie, who's a kid.
Okay.
And by kid, I mean she's even younger in this game than she was.
So wasn't she supposed to be like 14 and 7?
Yeah, and so she's even younger in Crisis Core. And so she has a little quest line, and that was fun. But like, really, it's because the missions are, you just select them and do them. And so you put the kid to bed, you pick up your Vita, you play some missions, you do some action RPG combat. It's just really relaxing.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing for 10 hours, but I don't know how much of that is like progressing through the story and how much of that is just doing these missions that you unlock as you kind of go along. So I've been playing that. I'm still enjoying it. It's great. Really, I've come into wishing that Sony supported the Vita better than it did. And we've talked about that enough, but really picking up this second Vita, dude, the battery life is so good.
Yeah.
Because I picked up Spiritfarer on the Switch, which is the other game that I'm playing this week. And I'll talk about the game in just a second, but the thing, I played Spiritfarer for a little under 2 hours with a 100% Switch battery. And by the time I was done, my battery was at 40%.
Wow.
After 2 hours. And I have the original Switch, so I don't have the one with the improved battery in it. But I played my Vita, and I put somewhere around, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours into Crisis Core over the course of a week, and my battery was only down to 40% after that week. Yeah,
I remember when I had a Vita, which I'm probably going to buy back from my nephew. I sent him a text message, and he's like, "Yeah, if I can find it." So hopefully he.
You hate to hear it.
Yeah, so I'm going to pay him back for the Vita. I think I remember charging mine once a week, if that. It wasn't a regular thing where like the Switch goes in the Switch dock, which I don't know if that's great for its battery. But yeah, my Switch, it's designed to kind of stay there, so I keep it in the Switch dock. Like playing Dark Souls, like I think if I play for 3 hours, it's like 20% or so. So yeah, it's Vita holds it, man. For a portable for a portable console, it definitely does the job of, you know, not needing to charge every single day.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like you can leave it in standby too. Like the Switch, you can leave it in standby, but like if you leave the Vita in standby, that baby's in standby. Yeah. Like again, I fully charged it, and I have a habit of like I fully charge something and I unplug it, and I left it at 100%. And when I turned it on 2 days later, it was at 100%.
That's amazing.
On standby. So as far as Spiritfarer goes, I know that we passed through that whole video. It's not what I thought it was, and apparently I just wasn't paying attention because I mentioned it to some people that I talked to about video games, and I was like, did I just miss the concept of this game? And they're like, yep, you did. And so I kind of thought it would be a lot more narrative driven, and what it is community building, which looking at this trailer that Patrick's showing, apparently I just didn't watch the right video. You know, I saw a trailer a few months ago and just decided that's what I wanted. And then if you watch the trailer, if you're viewing this on YouTube, and if you're listening to us, go check it out on YouTube. This trailer that we're showing right now shows like you build this little community in the underworld, and you're collecting these souls in the underworld. And I thought I knew the collecting the souls part and exploring part. I didn't know about the building part.
Sure. Well, and to defend you, the trailer that we saw during the Switch this is by the way was on the I want to keep on to say Nindies, because you just call it that. It was the Indies World Showcase. This was not the trailer played then. The trailer that played during that was pretty much all. It was all not, I want to say cinematic, but it was essentially like anime, cartoon. And it to me, like, it didn't really show a lot of what the gameplay was going to be. So you were kind of reading into how you felt it was going to be. So is there?
I got an initial idea, and then I stopped paying attention. Sure. And I should have paid. Not that it's bad, because it is super cute, and you have you play this character. She doesn't talk, and you know how I feel about like that, but that kind of stinks that she doesn't have like her own narrative. But you're playing like the new Spiritfarer of the underworld. You have this cool little tool that it's like a kind of like a sonic screwdriver. It does everything. Like you hold this little light orb, and any task that you're doing, your orb turns into that. So if you're fishing, it turns into a fishing rod. If you're pulling something out of the oven, you see this little graphic of it turning into your oven mitts, and you pick it up. It turns into a guitar when you're playing a song. It's really cute. If I was going to compare the gameplay to something, I would call it Fallout Shelter. But with a totally different tone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you're building that boxy, thing on your boat.
Yeah.
But it's not the Fallout vibe, it's this vibe. And so if you're into Fallout Shelter and you're into doing those community things, keeping your little community members happy while building them and collecting stuff, I completely recommend it for that. It's doing a good job of that. It runs well. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick with it, but I will say it had some chill vibes. It had a similar thing to what I'm doing with Crisis Core and the missions that I'm playing it, and while the frog dude says, hey, can you do this for me, I go do that. It's very task oriented. Sure. And so if you like that and are into that right now, which is probably why I haven't given it up yet, like I'm into just something like mindless, hey, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. We'll see how it goes. But watch your trailers, folks.
Yeah, and we did get a lot, and part of it is when they do these showcases, there's so much. And I'll admit this was not on my calendar. I'm obviously we do. I don't have to defend myself. We do a weekly gaming podcast, but I've got like on my Google Calendar, I'm like, hey, this is coming up. This is coming up. Make sure that what this show is going to be. I didn't even have this one on my calendar. And it was like 18 minutes, I think, and a lot of games. We had Hades, which I thought looked interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna play it, but it's a roguelike that was pretty good. I just thought I'd go through real quickly in these indies showcases, the ones that I enjoyed. I thought this one looked interesting, and I didn't see the price on it yet, but
it's not out.
It's not okay. Well, I didn't know if they like announced the price. I knew it wasn't out yet, but I was like, that one's interesting to me. Card Shark, which I know is not for everybody, but I thought this seems pretty interesting. You cheat in your way, playing cards, which for those of you who didn't know, I used to do amateur magic and card magic mentalism. So card manipulation, I'm like, dude, I know these techniques. Like the guy during the trailer, I don't know if you saw the developer was talking about it right before the thing. Like,
I watched it, didn't get to listen.
You watched it, but you couldn't listen. He was doing some tricks, essentially manipulating and bringing up aces, or it looked like he was doing a card trick to bring out all these aces. Like, look, I did a shuffle and there's an ace, and then at the end he ruined it because the whole deck was aces, and I was like, what was that? Because that's an actual magic trick, and I was like, oh, this guy's actually like a magician. No, but at least he understands, because this isn't about doing magic; it's about cheating. His whole deck was aces, and I'm like, you got me.
He's having fun.
He's having fun, and he cheated me. He cheated me in the magic trick, which I was like, you double bluffed me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get this because it's unique, it's interesting. I know it's not for everybody, but I thought that one looked cool. What were some of the? Oh, I got another one that I think you probably have it as well. So what's one that stuck out to you?
Card Shark definitely did. So I'm glad that you brought it up. It just I like the art style.
Yeah.
It's really cool. For anybody who doesn't know, I actually like playing poker, and I know that that's not the point of this game, but I like the idea of it being something about like you go to these card games and like cheat your way to the top. It's kind of reminds me of that movie Maverick with Mel Gibson. He doesn't cheat, but you know what I mean? Like it just, that vibe is what I kind of got from it. Other one that stuck out to me that I haven't bought yet, but it did already come out, was Evergate. Which it reminded me a lot I don't know if you got those vibes from it.
I didn't get that trailer. Hold on. Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay. So like Evergate is another afterlife thing. So kind of going along with that Spirit Fair thing where you're in the afterlife. And this one, the idea is that you save the afterlife, and it's a platformer. It has its own like mechanic where I forget what they called it, but there was some kind of like weapon or something, you know, the thing that you use for everything is there. But the art style looked cool. There was, what else stuck out to me? One, I just wish they had talked about it more, but they didn't. They dropped it right at the beginning of the montage, and that's Haven, and they just said that it comes out later this year.
Yeah.
Because I've had that on my list since I saw it, I think at E3 last year, and so I've been waiting for more news.
It's funny, I happened to not grab those for some odd reason, but I do have.
Well, Haven was in the montage.
Yeah, I do. Grabbing it right now though, so I can have this. We talk about this one real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Start here. Yeah. So I definitely got an Ori vibe from this. Again, the art style and the tone. I want to say that we saw this on a previous show earlier this year. Yeah,
I didn't remember it, so whenever I saw it, it just, you know, I'm not the biggest puzzle platformer guy in the world, but if you give me the right mechanic and art style, and you get this cute little sprite that you're wandering around with, and plus, again, there's something about it's the same thing that drew me to Spirit Fair, where I'm looking not for necessarily something like somber or anything like that, but like after playing Last of Us, I kind of wanted something that, you know, like this isn't like a jolly game or anything, but it's a game that, you know, to bring different kind of feels, maybe some more positive feels, and I got that from both Spirit Fair and this game of like, it's supposed to be about embracing that side of things, you know, maybe, you know, that's what I took from it, watching those, you know, 30 seconds of trailers.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get that same feeling when you saw Bear and Breakfast. This was so boring.
Really? I thought it was cute until I saw that it was super crafty, and then
yeah. Like I was like, okay, this is a kind of like I had the kind of cute or adorable kind of feel. I'm like, all right, and then I'm like, okay, just this is gonna do it for me. Some people it's gonna be totally up their alley because it's cute and crafty and going and
if you've been playing some Animal Crossing, like this might be for you.
Or what's the not Animal Crossing? What's the it's
Stardew.
Yeah, Stardew Valley. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, so those kind of situations, I'm like, yeah, totally. Raji is one that I'm like all in.
Already bought it.
Already good. I was gonna say I'm probably gonna grab it. Probably gonna grab it soon. I mean,
I bought it for the culture alone.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I love when they were talking about like the deep culture, talking about the different diversity within India, and I was like, okay, all in. To show that on a similar note, there's and I meant to bring it up here because there was a recent trailer that someone put out, but it's an indie dev out of China, and it's all like Chinese mythology. It's the same mythology that what's it called? I'm forgetting the name now. Enslaved Odyssey of the West. It's the same kind of same mythology out of that, and I think Dragon Ball was inspired by it too. But same reason where I'm like, just for the culture, mythology, and to like and to feel a little bit more cultured myself and learn about this. While it may not be accurate to the stories and everything, I'm all in on it. And the game looks fun too.
I think it's really hard to say how accurate it'll be.
Sure.
I mean, Hinduism is so broad. I feel I don't even know enough about Hinduism to really say what it is. The cool thing about this game, though. I actually, again, I talk about all the time how I hang out in like some gaming discords and some Facebook groups, and there's one guy, he's Indian, and he was speaking to the fact that nobody ever does games based in India and using Hindu mythology, which he argues is some of the coolest mythology in terms of the monsters, and just like he's like Hinduism has by far the best monsters, just nobody ever taps into them.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how Western studios won't touch it, and that's accurate. This particular studio, it's called Notting Head Games. This is their very first game. They are based in India, and so I love the fact that they recognized a hole in games that in game stories that are told. They're like, hey, nobody tells stories about our area of the world. Okay, we're gonna do that. I love that, and I want to celebrate that. We'll see how good the game is. It definitely has like different vibes to it. It looks like there's some like top down. It looked like there was like some third person aspects to it. So I don't know how all over the place it is. I'm hoping that it's fun to play, but I had to celebrate the fact that we're getting something different. We're getting a ton of Norse games right now. We got the God of War. We're getting Assassin's Creed and all that stuff. It feels like we touch Europe like all the time, right? So hey, let's hit up some Asia and let's explore a bunch of stuff that we don't get.
Yeah. 100%.
That's too cool.
Yeah, and in a similar fashion, we talk about developers that just don't touch this. There's only one other game that I can think of that is inspired by Hindu mythology, which is Asura's Wrath. If you haven't played it, I really enjoyed it. Again, inspired by, it's not straight up, but even then, it takes the Hindu mythology and it creates like a sci-fi element to it. So if you want to like if you want to give that to your buddy as a, hey, check this out if you haven't already. Like I said, inspired by, not straight up, but I loved it again for how different it was, because it's not European Tolkien-esque fantasy. It was something very different, and it's backwards compatible on Xbox One. So. And it's on PS3 too. So
I heard of that. Yeah. So yeah, I'll pass that along the next time that it comes off. I might even check it out myself.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's kind of what Dragon Ball did to like the to the Asian mythology, and like, 'cause I'm pretty sure that was Dragon Ball's based on Chinese mythology, not Japanese mythology, if I'm not mistaken. And they like took it and inspired it and made it a new thing. That's kind of how Asura's Wrath is. But I loved it to the point where I went and bought it again because I realized that it is backwards compatible, and I'm like, cool. You know, I'll spend a little bit of money and have that in my collection because it's one that I'll probably go back and play. Yeah. Anything else in the showcase stick out at you?
The cool thing, so Takashi and Hiroshi, like I don't know how good it is, but what I did find out is if you have Apple Arcade, it's actually available on Apple Arcade. So if you weren't sure about buying it on the Switch, you can buy, and you have Apple Arcade, which some people do. You can play it on there right now. It's included with your Apple Arcade.
It's cheaper to sign up for it and try it out than buy the game. So yeah.
And if you have never signed up, you get that free trial, baby. So, but of course you're playing it on mobile. But really cute art style. I don't know how. Like, it seems. It's kind of hard to say, like, is it more visual novel and you just kind of press attack and you just kind of win, or I don't know. So I downloaded it on my phone. I'll probably check it out here in the next few weeks, and I'll talk about it on the podcast sometime. But I really dug this. The second that this, like, what's that show?
We talk about like the like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Rankin Bass kind of.
Yeah, like it just has that feel to it, right? Yeah. Like you can't not love that art style, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it made me smile as soon as I saw it. And I definitely like the setup and the idea. I just don't know how to feel about the gameplay. So let me know how the gameplay is, like what it's like, because part of it seemed like this seemed very to me similar to the South Park Stick of Truth kind of bit, which wasn't bad, but it's not something that I'd want to sit down and play without. I wouldn't have played Stick of Truth without the South Park humor. We'll put it that way. Yeah,
I get that. Other than that, I had the list of stuff. My wife's excited about Untitled Goose Game 2-player.
Yeah.
So we added that'll be coming as a free update to everybody who owns that game on Switch. It's the same game. It's just that there's going to be a co-op, and it was so funny that we were literally talking about co-op games the night before this came out. She's like, I just don't like co-op games. And then the next day, this trailer comes out, and she tags me in it. And I was like, I don't like co-op games today, honk. Other than that, maybe you've played this just because you like Diablo and stuff. Have you ever played through Torchlight?
I haven't. So I haven't played it. I'm thinking about playing through. So there it goes. Sorry, it took a second. I love Diablo. I've heard mixed things about Torchlight 3. I heard that Torchlight 2 is really good though. So
Torchlight 2 is on sale on Switch right now for $11.99.
So I may pick that up. Essentially some reviews that I was listening to on Torchlight 3 were like, it's not bad, but
the game's already out on PC.
I think they were early reviews. That I was listening, like early access, or maybe they got early copies. Yeah, they may have gotten early copies because they were basically saying like, yeah, you could play this, or you could play like 5 or 6 other games that are in the similar style, and they were like, I would have rather played those games. I don't know why I keep stopping. It's a short trailer, but they basically everyone was saying like, I could play this, but if it wasn't Torchlight, would I have played it? Similarly, like Diablo 3, I liked Diablo 3. It's not as good as 2, so maybe it's that kind of situation where, like, if I'd never played a Torchlight game and I played this game, I may really enjoy it, but I may not enjoy it if I had played the better games, like Fable 3. Fable 3 is nowhere near as good as Fable 2. That kind of thing.
It's not even. That's being nice to it. It's being really nice. Fable 3.
Yeah, every now and then I put in a game, like I get hyped for a game, I put in a new game, and then I'm like, oh man, seriously? Yeah.
Other than that, like, I won't play it, but it looked trippy. If you like puzzle stuff, Manifold Garden looked cool.
Yeah.
A Short Hike, I didn't really see it, but apparently it's out on Steam, and it's super jolly, and so I might pick it up. Because it's on sale for like $7. Apparently, there's really like no like serious gameplay. It's literally just about like getting to the peak of the mountain, and you're like this bird that just travels. You know, honestly, this was a great direct. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. For an indie direct. And I think there was like 8 shadow dropped games, like games that we didn't know were coming yesterday that are now out on Switch. That was sweet.
That was really cool seeing that.
But you know what should come to Switch, right?
I was trying to grab an amiibo, but I didn't have it.
Yeah, because I think Skyward Sword should come to Switch.
Man, I would love for it to come to Switch. I'd love for all the Zelda games to come to Switch.
Every Zelda game should come to Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying I got my Wii U set up and everything, and I can play this. Rumor is that this is in the works to come to Switch. I'm still ever since you said that, you know, it's not going to be anything this year. They're going to do a year of Zelda if they do something like that. I could see them doing that in a year of Zelda, as this holiday. Rumor is that we're going to get the Mario Anniversary 3D collection on Switch, is the rumor. So I think Skyward Sword, and I would like Twilight Princess, but I think Skyward Sword would be an easier sell for a game. Which one did you like better, by the way?
Well, I never got to finish Skyward Sword. I liked it a lot more than a lot of people did. Mm-hmm. I thought that for doing motion controls and trying to go with that gimmick, that it did a good job with that gimmick. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of easy, and that's fine. Most of the Zelda games aren't extremely hard or anything like that. But Twilight Princess just came around at a particular time for me where I love Twilight Princess. A lot of people really don't care for it, and there's a lot of bad things, fair criticisms of Twilight Princess. But that game just means something to me for when I played it, and so I would go towards Twilight Princess. But when it comes to it needs to be re-released, like Skyward needs to be like they put Twilight Princess on the Wii U. I'm sorry that nobody bought it except I did, and it's on my shelf. But they need to re-release this game. It deserves to get that audience that, I know a lot of people played it on the Wii, but the Switch controllers, they kept the motion. Mm-hmm. There should be something there. They may have to do some kind of I heard somebody talking like maybe we'll have to have some kind of peripheral that goes with the game to really do like the nunchuck that you got from the Wii. But this should happen, and I hope that it does.
Yeah, I think that Twilight Princess, they were trying to do something very different. Twilight Princess and Wind Waker both were like, let's do something, and Zelda kind of gets, the whole Zelda universe gets reinvented and everything. But Twilight Princess has a very different feel than a lot of other games. I will say that if I go listen to Zelda music, because I do that to like chill out, or if I'm doing some work, I put some tunes on, and I'll pull up like Zelda playlists, or I'll create playlists and listen to it. And Twilight Princess has some amazing songs in it. And part of it is the sound quality in that game in comparison to obviously the Nintendo 64 games and everything. So like the Gerudo Valley version from that, and quite a few others. I'm trying to remember is it Kakariko Village? I'm not going to sing it on here, but like there's one that like comes to mind all the time. Just the sound quality is considerably better on that game in their original versions, where other people are like, oh, I love this song, and then the version they're listening to is not the one on the Nintendo 64, or not on this SNES. They're listening to like a different version, a remix or a cover. But it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna try and segue into something else, and
I'll just segue into Batman.
There you go.
I love Batman.
Non sequiturs.
Fine. So DC fandom, whatever you call it.
I hate this word so much.
It was like they're trying. Yeah. So I'll go into a rant about that at another time. But
sure.
You
can do that on that comic book podcast.
I kind of did, and I'll probably do it again. I'll probably do it again on the Breaking Cinematic Universes podcast. If you're not subscribed to that, it's on the same RSS feed and the same YouTube feed, so good luck there. And then Facebook, it's a separate Facebook feed though. So out of the gaming section of this, what we know we're gonna get, some Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. But the rumor is, which I hope is good, I honestly hope it's good, but the rumor is that we're going to get to see the Batman Court of Owls game that is rumored to be, it's not been announced, but it's pretty heavy rumor that this thing exists. So if that's the case, then I don't think people are going to care as much about the Suicide Squad game after that. Court of Owls is a great narrative. It's a great storyline, so I think it'd be really cool to see that, as the Arkham games have all pulled from very like the Long Halloween or other aspects of the Dark Knight. So I'm hopeful on this. I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, I'll disagree that people wouldn't care, because the thing about the Suicide Squad game is Rocksteady, and
that's true. That's
the superior developer in this, and the
Montreal.
Court of Owls developers, WB Montreal, which they did the Arkham game that a lot of people crap on, that was left out of the Arkham trilogy, which is interesting.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad, but it's nowhere near as good as the other games. I'll admit that.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's just like where I am out with this new Batman movie. Even though I think that the new Batman movie is probably going to be fine, it's just more of a consistent, like, can you guys do something other than Batman? Which Suicide Squad is something other than Batman.
It's true.
Give it that. I still wish they'd gone a different direction. I wish that we'd gotten like a sweet Superman game or something. But like, what I'm hoping is, if the Court of Owls is going to be a thing, there better be some cool Dick Grayson stuff, which is my favorite DC character. I love Nightwing. Nightwing's been my favorite for a long time. It's my avatar on like all my work things and all that stuff. It's just it's not something I talk about very often. It's just I've always liked the character more than Bruce Wayne. I think he's more interesting, to be honest with you.
Did you play Arkham Knight? I can't remember if we discussed that before.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, if you hadn't. Yeah.
Yeah, of course I played Arkham Knight. Yeah, which also is on sale for super cheap right now. I think you can get it for $5 on PSN.
I think almost all the Arkham games are on sale right now.
There's an under $20 sale. It's pretty good. So, if they reveal both, I don't think that that's a good idea to put them against each other like that. But if they do, good for us, and good for, you know, hey, you get Rocksteady, and then if you still want Batman, you're still getting Batman from a different studio.
I'll admit it. I'm gonna buy both of them. I love comic books, obviously, but I'm sick of Batman being in the forefront of everything. But I love the Arkham games, so I'm okay with it. And if you're not sick of Batman yet, you probably will be, because the other news that happened earlier today is Ben Affleck is back as Batman for the Flash movie. I don't know if you saw that.
This is where you flash the video of him sitting next to Tom Cavill.
Yes, the Henry Cavill, the sad flack. Tom Holland.
There we go. I crossed two Supermans together.
Yeah, it's not the sad flack. I almost had it queued up, but it happened relatively quick, and I already had most of the stuff ready. So that means that we're going to have Batfleck. We're going to have Robert Pattinson's the Batterson, whatever we're going to call that, and then we're going to have Michael Keaton, who is also returning. You're going to have 3 Batman which means it has to be a multiverse situation or Flashpoint. That's what I'm assuming that they're doing. But that's just confusing. That's really confusing to the average viewer, in my opinion. But I agree. They need to focus in on other aspects of superheroes and other aspects of DC. And we're still going to buy it. Just like, people are still going to buy the Xbox Series X, even though there are 2. I did a count, by the way. There are 2 games that are exclusive to Xbox, period, coming out during the launch lineup. They're not exclusive to Xbox Series X. They're just Xbox games that will only be on Xbox. I did a compare and contrast, which isn't ready, but I'm going to show it probably on the show next week. Here's the PS5 lineup. Here's the Xbox lineup. But the news here is Xbox is updating their dashboard, and they're specifically updating it to line up with the Xbox Series X launch. One thing that I thought was interesting with this trailer when they were talking about it is they were saying the integral part that for everyone is the phone when, in regards to social media. And I'm like, yeah, but if I'm playing, I don't want to fiddle with my phone while I'm doing that. So whatever interface that they're talking about here to be able to share while you're playing, they were saying that it's easier to type and it's easier to do all these other things with your phone. But I don't know about you, but like I don't want to put my game down. Like I don't want to put my controller down, type, and then pick up my controller.
I didn't even catch on to that. Does this not give you like a seriously familiar console vibe looking at that game lineup on there?
Look at the game lineup. What was the lineup?
No, I'm not talking about the game specifically. Let's see. And by the way, if you're listening, we're like watching a little reveal video. Sure. But look at how it's in this nice little horizontal plane, very much like a familiar, like every other, like it's now like Switch, now like PS4. Like the dashboard to me, it just looks like they took it and were like, okay.
I think that they were looking at what worked in their competition, which, you know what, honestly, that's how I've got multiple controllers over here. I had like 6 earlier, but when the SNES controller came out, like people were like, oh, that's a great design, let's copy that over everywhere. So yeah, it definitely feels like the Switch or PlayStation feel when you're looking at all the different games. I just don't know how to feel about the integration with the phone as well as the Xbox, which means I'll have to try it. I have my Xbox One X, so I can play it. I can try it with that when this dashboard launches. By the way, like 80% of the comments were about this guy looking like Elijah Wood. Like literally 80% of the comments were people saying, I didn't know Elijah Wood worked there, or jokes about Lord of the Rings. I'll have to try it out when it does come to Xbox One X, because I do have that. I still don't have a reason to buy an Xbox Series X, but we did get some news at least on the pricing of the Series S, or I should say it's a leak, because we still haven't gotten the official green light that this thing technically exists, but we did get some specs allegedly leaked. And if this is, I think this is probably spot on, and I won't bore you with the numbers because you can go to another show that better explains it, and they'll dive deep into it. Series S having no disk drive. These are the kind of easy things to remember. No disk drive, and obviously less RAM, weaker GPU, weaker CPU, less, and the performance target for the Series S is 1440 at 60 frames. And honestly, 1440 at 60 frames, there's nothing wrong with that. What's that?
It's perfectly fine.
I'm fine with that. I have a 4K TV. I have other 1080p monitors. I haven't upgraded these monitors to 4K yet, but 1440 with 60 frames. There's so many games with that would be completely fine with. And if you're going through a decent receiver, that receiver could upscale you to a 4K, which isn't going to look obviously as good, but it's going to clean it up a little bit. Obviously,
the question is, how does it compare to the One X?
That's the funny thing. It's less powerful considerably
than the One X.
So
I just want a One X.
Teraflops, so I believe the One X does a little over 6 teraflops or around that. So this does 4 teraflops in regards to GPU power. It is more efficient in regards to like the chipsets and everything, but essentially you're talking about a cheaper console, but it's not, the graphics aren't going to be near as good as a One X. And
can you get it to me for $250?
So the rumor is it's going to be $299. If it's $299, that's still not bad. $250 would be better. Rumor is that's what the same similar people who are talking about this are going towards $299 for the Series S. But the Series X, we got some information on in regards to the chip that they're using on that. Hold on, I had it in front of me, and there it is. So the system on a chip that's used there, the price of that, again, we'll have links to this in the YouTube page because I mean to do that. Essentially, the ray tracing is going to be off the charts. The specs are great. The chip that they're talking about, the custom system on a chip that is going to be used for the Series X, is $499 for just the chip. So if they're going to sell this thing for $499,
is that fact?
What's that?
Is that factual?
Yes, that's factual. So unless they are able to make it cheaper, unless they've worked out some great deal that shaves off cost, that's what the cost looks like for the chip. So that if it is that. If it's they did say that that's the chipset that is in there, and someone else priced it, right? So they said, here's the chips that we're using, here's the custom version that we're using. The custom version isn't what they have the price for, but the regular version is $499. So let's just say that the custom version, the way that they're manufacturing everything, let's say it's $400 for just that chip. Package everything else together, I don't know how you're going to get this thing out at $500. I really don't.
I mean, the rumor is that they're going to sell this thing at a loss.
Yeah. $500 would be a deep loss, but I mean...
That's what we've been saying. Like, is that how much do they want...
How much do you want to
undercut?
Yeah.
As fuck.
Man, okay, if this thing is as powerful, it's looking more and more powerful, and I'll admit it, I'm not going to grab it day one, but I'm going to get the PS5 day one. If this thing is as amazing as people are saying it is, as everything's leading us to believe, and it's $500, I may have to grab it.
I don't know how I can.
I don't know, but I'm gonna wait for some reviews on the Xbox Series X, because as we've said on here, I don't have a need for it right now. For me, it would be an upgrade from my Xbox One X, and it would honestly be just a straight up greed thing to say I want to have both, and then I can have one in each room. Which is really want to PlayStation.
That's I wish that they weren't ceasing production on that, because it's being harder to find. I'm hoping.
I love mine. Yeah.
I'm hoping that I could grab one on Black Friday somehow. If I could find one for like $3 something, I would probably buy it, and then maybe put an SSD in it, just to maximize it. I know that. I think it's harder to upgrade on the Xbox than it is on PS4.
It is, yeah.
But it's still something where I think that I would probably get several years out of it if I did.
You totally would. I mean, you've got Xbox games in your library already, so you're good on that. But yeah,
Game Pass. I wouldn't even buy games.
That's
literally, if I buy a Series X, I'm never going to buy a game on that console.
Straight up Game Pass.
Yeah, it's just, and I kind of don't like saying that, because normally speaking, I like to give people money. There's instances already that, like, I mentioned buying a game on Switch, and they're like, it's on Game Pass. And I'm like, yeah, I want to play it on Switch. Like, I'll just give them the $20. But if I'm buying this Xbox, there's just too many PlayStation games that I own already, where it's way easier to justify $10 a month than it is to try and keep up with different consoles libraries extensively.
Yeah, no, I agree. And part of me, the biggest reason that I'm not against Game Pass or anything like that whatsoever, but it's the same reason that I'll purchase movies, the same reason that I grab games when they're on sale, even if it's a game that I'm not going to play right now. I've been buying some games on sale, breaking my rule, buying some games on sale, because I'm like, I want that in my collection. I want to be able to play it at a later date. Ooh. I know, breaking my rules of that, but because I'm like, I want to play it at a later date, and I don't know some of the games I'm grabbing. Honestly, I don't know if they're ever going to be on Game Pass. Had it right in front of me, but apparently I moved it. Like Transformers: Fall of Cybertron, like it's not on there. And there's other games that could be on there that would be great to have on there that they're just not going to put on there. So that's kind of the only reason that I'm like, I kind of want that. But at the same time, dude, Shadow of War is on Game Pass. That game is great.
Did you see how they're adding? They finally are adding the thing on PlayStation Network where if you own it via PS Plus, they finally added the option that you can go in and buy the game.
I'd heard it, and when I went in, I didn't.
It's either in the next update then if it's not actually.
Yeah, because I wasn't seeing it when I went in. I'd heard about that, which made me very happy. Listeners of the show probably know this. I let my PlayStation subscription lapse, and in doing so, I lost access to Metal Gear Solid, and I was playing Metal Gear Solid like actively, like almost daily at that point. I was jumping in because similar to what you were talking about at Crisis Core, I was able to jump into Metal Gear and go, I'm going to do this, and it'll probably take me 20 minutes, so I'm just going to do this one mission and then bounce. And I lapsed my subscription, so I had no access to that. I had no access to Bloodborne and a few other games that I really wanted to play. So yeah, to be able to do that and to give to developers to make sure you don't have to keep subscriptions if you don't want to, and two, to give to those developers, especially if a game goes on sale and you're like, oh, $6 for this? Okay, I'll give you $6.
It's that aspect of it where, like, if I'm playing something, or or even if I played through something, I don't replay games and stuff, but I have a habit of, like, if I was to really enjoy something, I want to go out of my way to give them money. And before they have done this update on PlayStation, that was just impossible. I wasn't able to go give you my money unless I bought a physical game, and I don't buy, and I'm trying not to buy physical games now.
Sure.
It's just nice. So I'm glad that should be coming soon if it's not already in there. I haven't actually gone and tested it yet. I've been too busy on my Vita.
Yeah, and I'm not all digital yet. I'm pretty much going there. I'm not all digital yet because I still have some physical games, and I've bought some games third party recently, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cheap. And depending on when you're buying and how old the game is, it could be cheaper to do that than a digital sale. But the digital sales are making it so easy now to rack up that library, just increasing your backlog. And then you got shows like Ex Libris. So plug to Owen's show, going through your library. When are we looking at the next episode on that, by the way?
Should be as long as I can get the stream done this week or next week. I have the next game lined up. I just need to actually stream and record it. I loaded it. I was actually messing with my OBS scene right before this show. So expect me to stream sometime either this weekend or next week. So that'll be on facebook.com/TheLanCave. And then we'll put that show together, and hopefully at the beginning of September, that episode will come up. We're going to be playing some Kind Words.
So what is Kind Words?
You'll find out on Ex Libris.
That's right. So you got to subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook if you haven't already, as Ex Libris is only going to be there. I don't feel like it really works as much of a podcast. It works better in visual format. So subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter so that way you get that. Last news for the day. We could keep going on and on, but we had a lot of rumors that have been going on about.
So tired of it.
It's ridiculous, and the clickbait's killing me because every single article makes it seem like there's a release date, makes it seem like there's been a confirmation of, like, they just announced 2 new games for the launch lineup, and it's like, no, those aren't new, or that's a confirmation you can play it as backwards compatible, or there's an upgrade. So it turns out some of the rumors and leaks about the PlayStation 5 in regards to it not being able to essentially compete with the Xbox, there were some really, I would say it made it seem like the PlayStation 5 was going to be hardly more powerful than PlayStation 4 in regards to some of the stuff. They were saying, like, it can barely do 4K gaming, that it can barely even do upscaling to 4K. And it turns out that the person who was behind most of those rumors was basically doing it out of spite because they were tired of seeing so much negativity about the Xbox, that he was like, I don't know if he's a fanboy or what, but he basically admitted, he was like, okay, it's not true. I was just really tired of not only talking about it, but seeing all this negativity towards him.
Or are we talking about two different stories?
I thought he admitted it.
No, I mean,
talking about Dust Golem? I thought he admitted it.
No, he didn't. He said that. That's the thing about this article that you posted. Whenever I read it again, so he was a mod on a Reset Era forum, and apparently he knows somebody that is working on Resident Evil 8.
Yeah,
and apparently the problem isn't the power of the PS5. The way he was talking about it reminded me of the PS3, and that they are doing something different with how they're using AMD. They're actually doing something that is being used. I did 5 minutes of research, so that they're doing something that's being used on gaming laptops, apparently, where the graphics card can supplement power by using the CPU to affect it, and that developers aren't necessarily used to doing that. And so that is potentially causing an issue with a game like Resident Evil 8, where it's not running as well as it is on Series X, according to what this guy said. Now, I didn't see anything where he said I made it up.
Yeah, there were other articles where people were like, I guess maybe they were embellishing a little bit, but it's not that he was basically making it sound worse purposely because there was so much bad press about the Xbox is what the other. Again, this just goes down to the fact that we don't know anything about these consoles, so people are making up things on both sides. If it is if it is a different power allocation, even as much as it doesn't look quite as good, but checkerboarding up to 4K, for the most part, most people can't tell. Unless you are really close to a large monitor, most people can't tell, and the games look really good. If it's got the ray tracing, I know people are talking about it like crazy, but ray tracing makes so many of these games look even better.
My puddles, man. So in terms of this guy, I'm just done clicking on things. I've been in again the groups that I hang out and stuff, and like I feel like there was like a post every single day this week about a price leak, about a spec leak, about something. And then PlayStation 5, they released an ad today. If you were recording this on Thursday live as we do, they released an ad today talking about their controller. And I'm at this point where I'm like, how dare you, Sony? Like, what are you doing? You're releasing an ad about your controller and you still haven't told us when this console's coming out and how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. And this guy, he's not a reporter or anything. He apparently knows it, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Apparently he knows a developer who's working on a game who, may have been complaining to him or whatever about developing for the PS5. And honestly, if it's anything like what I read about in that 2 seconds of research, I can kind of get that, because if anybody remembers with PS3 launch, the reason why it had such a hard launch, not only was it $600, but it was also this architecture that nobody understood and nobody really got it other than like Sony first party studios, and it took an entire generation for them to figure it out. I get that if it is, but really this just boils down, I don't care anymore. I need Microsoft to tell me when this thing's coming out, give me the full spec lineup, which Microsoft's doing a great job of actually saying like what's in this, what's in the Series X, for example. Yeah. We don't know about the Series S yet, and we had the overview of the PS5, but I want to see it. I want Digital Foundry to have the thing. I want them to play the games. I'm not going to trust who wins and who's more powerful until Digital Foundry tells me, is basically
that's exactly what I was going to say. That's what makes it real. When Digital Foundry does a breakdown of your console, it's like, okay, this is happening. We know it's happening. We know it's about to that it's not a dream at that point. It's just weird. I don't. We've never been this close to a console launch, an alleged console launch, without knowing actual pricing or release date. COVID obviously has effects on this, but yeah, it's a hard time for everybody. And if you're tired of the rumors, that's why you got to subscribe to us, TheLanCave. And if you haven't already, check us out on Facebook and YouTube if you're listening to us as a podcast, and let us know what you like. We'll keep it as accurate as possible. We tell you when a rumor happens, when something's a rumor, and we tell you when something's legit. And we're tired of rumors, so
that's the rumor.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see you next time. Let us know in the comments whatever you want to let us know, because I'm too tired to make up something in the spot. So let us know something. Tell us what your favorite color is.
What is that in the Lego movies? Like something business, something numbers. Is this working?
Is this working?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So comment that in the comments so we know you listened.
Show us your Unikitty.
That's right. We'll see you later.